Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video discussion. This month I'm going to be talking about my process to making an original character. I got so many requests to talk about this, and I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you all. Before I begin, I'd like to give a special thank you to my subscribers who are sticking with me even though I'm not the fastest at posting. Quarantine has not been the best, but I'm doing all I can to keep going. You all mean the world to me, and I'm excited to read the comments after I upload this. Alright, now let's begin the discussion. Lately, I feel like I've been working really hard to improve my character design abilities, and I think my 3 key points that I always remember when I'm personally making a character are silhouette, color, and appeal. Take that with a grain of salt because my process does not mean I am anyway a professional or that I should recommend my process. I haven't taken any courses on character design. I mostly learned from creators I already admire and just watching a lot of tutorials or observing of what I like from certain character designs and what I dislike and hearing people critique characters. I think that's really cool to hear their input, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this and implement it into my process. So, you could just take a little bit from mine and use it to wherever you want. I don't know, but take what I say with a grain of salt. I am not a teacher, but I'd like to get better at my teaching abilities. So, yes. Those are the main things I always like to focus on. Again, there's silhouette, color, and appeal. In my last video discussion, I briefly talked about the importance of silhouette and why it helps so much to understand it. If you don't know what silhouette is, it's asking yourself if the character would be recognizable if they were just a shadow. Hairstyles, body types, unique clothing, those all play a huge part in silhouette. For my character lineup, the Jewel Sisters, it's a working title. I'm still working on their designs, but I have 12 main characters named after birthstones, and I created them when I was only 12 years old. I actually wrote an entire book for them too. It's a piece of garbage, and I don't love it, but it was a great stepping stone to get where I am, so there's that. Since I was so young when I created the characters, their designs were really complicated. So I was determined to grow them into something that actually makes sense. I took the process as slowly as I could because I would rather have really fleshed out characters versus going around making a ton of flat, confusing ones and just really going through characters fast and having a million OCs. Like, I just really wanted to focus on my Jewel Sisters so that way I could grow as much as I could with character design. It wasn't necessarily growing them to make a show or another book or something. It was honestly just to help me understand more character design and how it works and stuff. But yeah, I'll discuss more later once I have a more grounded understanding of their storyline. Right now, it's all over the place. I knew that for a person who has never seen them before, it could be really difficult to tell them apart, which is why silhouette became so important. Just by looking at them and their unique shape and color, could I tell them apart? In their old designs, I was struggling because their silhouettes were not working at all. I had too many preferences with how they looked, but honestly, I just need to let it go for the sake of being more simplistic and less complicated. They used to be anthropomorphic dogs who were fairies, who also had elemental powers based on jewels, and they couldn't live without these jewels, and they lived in the sky, and that itself is just way too complicated. So much going on. I had to scrap it all and just make them humans, born with gemstones, and had their hair color tied to the gem they were, and this made them so much more simple, and really helped with my silhouette issue. So my question for you is, are your characters too complicated? Are there attributes you need to change or get rid of entirely? Could you tell them apart from the other characters just by a shadow? Asking myself these questions really helped, and I honestly am so glad that I simplified their designs. It makes it less confusing to explain and more interesting to look at. Next, we'll be talking about color. Color is my favorite piece. Because my characters are based heavily on color, I can really mess around and toy with the hues. It's not just the color they're based on though, it's how well the colors complement. I recently learned more about how different skin tones work with different hair colors or clothing colors and such. If you have warmer skin tones, cooler colors will complement that well, whether in your clothing or cooler colors in hair, and the same vice versa. If you have cooler, pinker tones in your skin, then a warm color will complement that well in the clothing or the hair. Colors that clash can be extremely distracting and almost chaotic, especially when it comes to clothing. If their hair is a crazy color, it would be best to keep the clothing a little bit simple. And what do you want to emphasize most? My advice is just to pick one area of the character that you want to stand out instead of trying to make everything bold. Because if you have bold hair, bold clothing, as an audience member, you're going to feel confused about what exactly this character is. I don't know. Do whatever you want with the character. If it complements really well, then I think you should go for it. But if you want good balance, think about what's most important about their design. Is their hair really important to the design? Or is it their clothing? Do they really prefer clothing that's like brighter? Does it reflect their personality? These are questions you should probably ask yourself about what you want to emphasize the most. My advice is just to pick one area of the character you want to stand out instead of trying to make everything bold, as I said previously. Colors can say a lot about a person too, like a character who wears yellow could complement their joyful personality, or black for a character who is more closed off. If there are too many colors or colors that clash, people won't be able to read your characters easily, and they might become confused. I usually like to keep two main colors in mind that I want to highlight, and then let the rest of the colors complement them really well. But you can choose how many main colors you want. 1, 2, 3. I would not give them 5 main colors. Emphasize 1, 2, or 3. That's just my idea. I mean, in observing other characters that are already made, how many colors do they have? Like Mario, he has like red, blue, and white here and there. Those are his main colors, or red and blue are mostly his main colors, and then the white kind of complements that. So just be thinking about how many colors you want to emphasize without making it way too complicated. And it also really helps make the character appealing when the colors complement. And that leads me to my next point, appeal. I'm not quite sure how to phrase it, but in short, do I want to look at this character? There are some designs from movies, anime, or Western cartoons that make me want to stop watching the show altogether. Just looking at them is so weird. I remember watching a documentary of the making of the movie Detective Pikachu, and there was something that a director said, I can't recall his name, but it really inspired me actually. I remember watching a documentary of the movie Detective Pikachu on YouTube somewhere, and there was something that a director said that inspired me, and I'm not quite sure what his name is, but he said something around the fact that Pikachu as a character needed to be appealing. Cute, in other words. That he needed to be something that people wanted to look at. What I took away from that was that I need to step back and ask myself, is my character cute? Do I want to look at them? Does their design fit the environment in the way that doesn't ruin the appeal? I'm not quite sure if it makes sense, but I used to get so caught up on something being accurate or makes sense that I forgot to step back and see if it looks good as a whole. Zee's original design was actually quite terrifying, and the reason was I tried so hard to make it unique that I forgot to ask myself, is this cute, and do I want to look at it? Right now, I would say a hard no on that. Her long black eyes were the worst part of it all. It just didn't look appealing at all. So I decided to change it up. A few questions you could ask yourself here are, Overall, is the character interesting to look at, and are they recognizable? Even if the details aren't perfect, can you understand what it is by looking at it as a whole? The Detective Pikachu movie is a great example. If the directors wanted to focus on making the Pokemon look realistic and make sense, they would start to lose their fun, cartoony, nostalgic vibe and appeal that they used to have. And that's why it was so important that they made them more cutesy and appealing and recognizable. A fantastic example of unappealing character design can be found in any of the animated, live-action Disney movies, remakes. The remakes are so hard to sit through. I do not like any of them. And the reason why is because, the characters are so unappealing to look at, and just the movie as itself. They were focusing so much on trying to make, say, The Jungle Book or The Lion King extremely accurate and realistic looking that they forgot what made the original franchise so recognizable and fun was the characters' design. You can't make a Lion King movie without having a fun, bubbly Simba who looks friendly and he looks innocent and he has a smile, but in this movie he just looks like an animal with no soul, no personality, and doesn't even look happy at all. So that is a great example of what I'm trying to say. If you try to focus on the details so much, you start to lose the appeal of the original design, of what makes it so appealing and what people recognize it as and remember the character as. And here I am rambling because I really don't like the remakes that Disney has put out. Unpopular opinion, maybe, I don't know, but I just, as an animator, I cannot sit through those. Overall, I hope that this sort of gave an inside view to the things I look for in my character designs. I'd like to think I'm getting better at it, and I'd love to see all of your character designs too. Maybe I could make a whole video looking at your designs and giving suggestions to make them even better. Again, I am no way a professional, but I'm definitely wanting to improve my character design skills as well as making critiques. I also really want to talk about my characters more with you all. I think the one thing holding me back is that I can't settle on a story, and I know that I should just hit the button and go for it, and really just talk about it, because I think it really helps to have maybe other people critique my story and we can all work on it together. I don't know. And I know the story will take a huge part in how they look as characters, so I'm just a little shy about it, but maybe I'll do something with it. But I have a good general concept. Maybe me posting about it and getting your suggestions will help the storyline. We shall see. I just need to go for it, honestly. I think trying to figure it out all on my own has got me going crazy. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons, Jordan and Dandy Quiver. Your support really matters, and if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter as well and get your name featured at the end of a video and get special behind-the-scenes content, then the links will be down in the description as well as on the end card of this video, which should be right now. But each month I post things that I'm working on before I post it on YouTube, and just behind the scenes, and I post a newsletter of what I'm working on for the month. I also have a few other links in the description you can check out if you are interested, and I am most active on Instagram if you want to know where I post more than on YouTube and Patreon. I am very active on Instagram. I post art, I post some behind the scenes content, I post anything really, so that link will be in the description. And thank you all again for your support. I'm truly thankful, and I will keep working really hard every single day to post the next animation. I'm so sorry that I take forever. I'm working on my efficiency. It's kind of a road bump, but we're getting there. Yes. Okay, I think that was a really long end card. But yeah, I'll see you soon. And toodles!